eighth graders, Mrs. Gale here. I'm sorry that my video is coming in late. I've had a family emergency and I thought I'd share it with you so you kind of know what's going on. My dad had quadruple bypass surgery on Tuesday, which is yesterday, and he's doing well, but it was unexpected. He had 4 blockages in his arteries, so they had to like get veins out of his legs and connect it to his heart, but everything went well, but that's why I'm a little behind, and I know you guys will understand that. So sorry about that, but we only have a few more days left. Tomorrow you have your assessment, so I'm just going to talk through what's going on, and please send emails, and I'm around because I have to be. I can't go up and see my family, which kind of sucks. But we've been able to Zoom as a family and Zoom with my dad at the hospital, so that's good too. All right. So today you have a Google presentation you're going to go through, and it's the story about rocks and fossils in Minnesota and in Chaska. And I just found this little thing. I heard about this glacier mice. It just was on the news yesterday on the radio as I was listening to it, and I just stuck the YouTube video on there because I just thought it was interesting with these two women scientists up on a glacier. So take a look if you're interested. It's not required. And then you also have a Google form that you will do after you go through the presentation. This work is due Thursday. All work, any missing work, especially summatives, are due Friday. And then tomorrow you have that last summative. It's a Go formative 10 multiple choice questions. You do have to think a little bit on it. I didn't make it as easy as I thought it was going to be, but let me know if you have questions. You know I'll help you out. So here's your assignment in Classroom. It looks like this. You have the Google presentation you'll go through, and then you also have the Go formative questions. So this is what it looks like, the story from rocks and fossils in Minnesota State Parks and Chaska. And I thought this was kind of cool, this Harvard University geologic time scale. Looks like this. It's helpful to take a look at this, especially for your summative, that this is how it's organized, right? We have eons, the Phanerozoic eon and the Precambrian, and then we have these things called eras. And we're in the Cenozoic era right now. The Mesozoic is that middle era. Paleozoic is when all that life started forming, and then Precambrian time is made up of these 3 eras: Proterozoic, Archean, and Haden. And that's most of Earth's history is in here, but not a lot of life was forming. It was just early, single-celled organisms to a little bit complex. And then we have these periods, the quaternary, the tertiary, and we didn't really worry so much about epochs, and these are ages on the end. But this is something you can use. It is linked right here. So when you're taking the assessment on Thursday, just know that this is available. So these are the state parks that we'll be looking at. I linked some virtual tours, and this is kind of a cool gallery. Like, there's shark teeth in Minnesota, and if you go to this park, you might be able to find them in the rocks. And this is 105 million years ago to 60 million years ago, when there was an ancient sea covering the Mesabi Iron Range in this area of Minnesota. And so if the shallow seas were at a time when there were shark in the ocean, when they first were in the ocean, then you're going to find the teeth of the shark, and then other organisms too of that time. This is a really interesting link where it shows you, if you click on this, it'll show you how the Earth has changed over time. So you can see this shallow sea covering part of Minnesota. So take a look at that. You can put a red mark where Minnesota is and see where it is on the globe. This is Lake Vermilion and the Sudan Underground Mine. I have been there. It was a cool one in Ely. And there's some really interesting formations. Like, this is where you see a metamorphic rock, right, where the layers get all twisted. This is called pillow lava. So in Minnesota, there was volcanic activity 2.7 billion years ago under the ocean that was above Minnesota. And so this is called pillow lava, where it's just like this bubbling magma coming out. If you Google search pillow lava, it is really fun to watch underwater. This is Forestville Mystery Cave State Park. I know a couple of students have said they've been here before. Relatively young in geologic time, so 500,000 to 1 million years is when this was forming, so years ago. So not very long ago compared to like this, which is 2.7 billion, which is 2,700 million years ago. So it is from the acid rainwater kind of sculpting this calcium rich minerals and rock limestone into these formations. And there's a cave virtual tour. All the virtual tours are about, I don't know, 6 minutes at the most, but you can click on it, watch it a bit. Jay Cook, really neat formations here with the slate, kind of this vertical thing happening. And you can see where it's close to Duluth. And yeah, make sure you kind of read through this. Started out as shale, compressed into slate. So shale's a sedimentary rock, slate's the metamorphic, and then it got folded and twisted up. And so it looks like all these rocks are pointing up at the same direction, and they are. This is Interstate Park, really neat gorge here that was carved out by glaciers about 11,000 years ago, so really pretty young. There's that virtual tour. Blue Mound State Park, you can see this cliff wall. That's the part that is talked about the most here. Another shallow sea laid these sediments down, this nice red clay sized particles and sand and silt that made this beautiful rock. And it's over here in the southwest corner. And then the last one I want to talk a little more about, and this is the clay holes in Chaska. So if you look, the Chaska brick, which is this color, comes from clay that they dug out of the ground. You can see the clay hole where we swim, and there's that other clay hole on the other side behind Cooper's, and it's been developed, right? This is the original rock that was eroded away by a glacial river. So glacial or glaciation all has to do with glaciers. So huge ice sheets that covered Minnesota, and then when they melted, left behind sediments, carried sediments from these huge rivers. And how big are these rivers that eroded this rock and made it into clay that could be made into this brick? Look at this. So here's a side Minnesota River, right? Here's Chaska, and then here's the clay holes. And then the River Warren was up this high. It probably reached up to the close to where like Chaska Middle School East is, right? Because you can see how that when you drive down the hill. And look at this. Here's the Minnesota River to scale today, right? The River Warren was up like this. So just a gigantic river that came from a huge lake called Lake Agassiz that when it melted, there was just released tons of water. And then I just wanted to let you know I have links here. The information I got from this was from this student named Noah Billig. It was his master's paper that he wrote. I would take a look at this if you're interested to see what a paper looks like when you're in college. Like this is for master's and dissertation when you're getting your PhD example. And then Geology of State Parks, this is where I pulled the information from. Here's a timetable that you will see on the test tomorrow. And actually, I think I have that pulled up. This is what you'll be using tomorrow. So you might want to take a look. I'll talk through it, but just know that last slide is a bunch of resources. And then you guys will take this little short Google form. All right, let me know if you have questions. I will be available today. I just have one meeting. I'm meeting with a student at 1 o'clock, but otherwise I should be on my computer most of the time. I will also be probably taking a little bit of a break around noon for lunch. All right, see you guys.